Hey there, who likes a spooky story? And like all great spooky stories, this one's true. It's about the death of Julius Streicher. He was the last of the Nazis hung at the Nuremberg trials. And he went hysterically. He was kicking and screaming, and his last words were really weird. He said, "Today is Purim." Now, he died in October, and Purim is a Jewish holiday that takes place in around March. Julius Streicher was an expert in Jewish law. He knew very well what day it was. It was actually just after the Jewish New Year called Rosh Hashanah. Now, Purim is a holiday that celebrates the version of a near Holocaust that happened in ancient Persia. It was led by a man called Haman. And at the end of the book of Esther, the book that deals with the holiday of Purim, it recounts a time when Haman's lieutenants, he had 10 lieutenants, which were his sons, were all hung. And much like the 10 Nazis hung in the Nuremberg trials. Also, much like the Nuremberg trials, there were 11 people who were supposed to be hung. One of them killed themselves, Goebbels, who was a transvestite. He killed himself by hiding poison in his toilet. The 11th lieutenant that Haman had was his daughter, who killed herself when she accidentally emptied toilet water over her father's head. So there's a weird parallel there, but there's a much weirder parallel. In the section that recounts the hanging of the 10 lieutenants, the 10 sons of Haman, there are 4 letters that are written differently, 3 very small and 1 very big. Now here's the spooky bit. They spell out the date that Julius Streicher was hung. So for him, today probably was Purim. Now I'm going to go into this in a lot more detail in our next stretch goal in our Kickstarter campaign. We're doing fantastic. We are fully funded. We reached our first stretch goal. We got 7 days. We just got 7 days to make this stretch goal happen. So I want you to click onto Kickstarter right now. Go and check out the book. It's a great book. Listen, if you like reading comics, it's a book you want to get. If you like Vertigo type books, you like an intelligent book, like an interesting book, this is a book for you. So go check it out right now. It's on Kickstarter. We've got 7 days to make it happen. Let's reach that second stretch goal.
Shiny leather.